F major add second chord. Oh boy. We're getting close to the end now. And I, Miles White, who's in charge here at F major add a second chord, I want to take a moment and think about the recent past. Because F major add a second chord coming to an end, because it was a New Year's resolution. I was going to do this every week for a year, and when this comes out, I will have one more to record. And that means, and then the year will be over, and my obligation will be complete, and I will get my Sunday nights back. But until then, I still have these last few podcasts in my future, and so that means the year is almost over. I want to take back and do a little year in review. It's the end of the year, and this is the point where all the music websites that I read are releasing their terrible year-end in review lists and making dubious decisions about which are the best records of the year. I considered doing that, but then I realized my problem is that there's a lot of records that I should have listened to that I didn't. Partly out of inertia. Like, I didn't listen to the Bjork record. I like Bjork, but I just didn't listen to it. I don't know why. Or like records that I just don't listen to, like, out of spite. Like, everyone loves the War on Drugs, so I just don't listen to the War on Drugs. I have no problem with the War on Drugs, the band. The actual War on Drugs, that's a war on, like, people with drugs, is not. I have, that's not the same thing. But like the people who call themselves the War on Drugs, who play the guitar, no issue with them. They just, everyone likes them, so I don't listen to them. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not that sorry. I'm not apologizing for my opinions. I'm just, you know what I'm saying. Look, the point is I wanted to do a year in review, and instead of doing songs or albums, I just wanted to list things. This is the year in things at F major add a second chord. What's the first thing? I wrote a bunch of things down. My first thing, small improvement to my own life of the year. I bought a notebook. I bought a couple of small notebooks that I could fit in my back pocket. I bought them like in, February. And this is really useful, just having notebooks I can just carry around and like write stuff in. I have all sorts of stuff in this notebook. I plotted out a couple podcast episodes in this notebook. I practiced Greek in this notebook. I did a lot of stuff. It gave me options, and I like having those options. So good on me for buying that. Applause. Let's see. Beverage of the year. Apple cider. I live with roommates, and one of my roommates kept buying apple cider, and I kept drinking it, and at some point I started buying it. I went a little crazy with the apple cider in the winter. It was very cold. It wasn't cold. We had a warm winter. The year in seasons, this season of the year is winter, because winter was very warm, and I was having a good time enjoying the warm weather. So yeah, season of the year, winter. But the apple cider, I drank a lot of it, and it was good, and I drank more of it over the summer, and when I edit this podcast, I'm going to drink some more apple cider. Yeah. That's that. Meal of the year, birria, Mexican goat stew. I knew a guy, well, my other roommate, I have multiple roommates. One of my roommates knew a guy, and he was like, you got to go. And it's goat. Like, it's really good, but like, it's goat stew. I'm like, you've never had goat before. So like, and he's like, my roommate said, this sounds interesting. It sounds really good. I'm going to drag along out of my various friends and roommates, I'm going to drag along the guy with a weak palate and who is a picky eater. So he dragged me out to, to Archer Heights or wherever, to Pulaski Street. And we sat down in a birreria and we ordered the goat stew, and it was delicious. And we were obsessed with it for the rest of the quarter and for the rest of the year. It was a good experience for all of us. We ended up dragging our other friends out to goat stew places and just trying different goat stew just throughout the city. Different recipes, different consomes, all the good stuff. That was a fun experience for all of us. I will look on 2017 as that year. Effigy of the Year. Effigy of the Year award is very special because this year sucked. And if I had to go and take one person and say you are the Effigy of the Year, this year it is Anthony Scaramucci, who was a clown. You may remember Anthony Scaramucci as the man who was the press secretary. No, he was the communications director after Sean Spicer left the White House. He was the White House. You might not remember Anthony Scaramucci because he was there for a week. He lasted a week. He quit his job. He separated from his wife. His wife gave birth. He missed the birth of his son, and then he was fired because he said that, what did he say? He said that Steve Bannon wanted to munchel on his own trungle or something. That's not the important part. The important part is that he's a larger-than-life character with the large gestures and such, and he got himself fired in a week because nothing in this country makes sense anymore. You can be a donor, and you can argue with Reince Priebus for months and months, and when you finally triumph over him, the size of your own mouth is such that you fall into it. Anyway, that's Anthony Scaramucci. Effigy of the Year. Who gets to be the death of the year? Because in 2016, a lot of people died, and a lot of people were sad about all the people that were dying. A lot of celebrities died, you know. Lots of people die every year, but 2016 just seemed dense with celebrities just dying. But I don't remember any of those people because none of them were David Bowie or Leonard Cohen or Prince or Carrie Fisher's mom. Death of the Year. This is a category which I'm doing on the fly. I kind of want to give it to Tom Petty, not because like I like Tom Petty's music. I think it's fine. I don't have an opinion about it, but because they announced his death, but he wasn't really dead. He was on the way out, but he wasn't. It just wasn't really dignified. He did die later. He died soon after, but they had to walk back the statement of his death and then put out a new one when he did. And that's just not a good way to go. It's not great. Album of the Year. Yeah, I'm going to give that to Tom Petty. Album of the Year, I wanted to do that just to be sure. And out of the records I reviewed, I think the best one, and this is, if you ask me this question in a month, I'll give you a different answer, but right now the answer is Sleep Well Beast by The National. It's a national record. It's very strong, but it sounds different. It sounds like a national record, but it feels like a national record, but it sounds different, and I appreciate when an artist can do that. Runner-up is a tie between Fred Thomas's Changer and Proto Martyr's Relatives in Descent, both strong articulations of artistic purpose. Out of the records I didn't review, it's got to be Balsams by Chuck Johnson. I kind of slept on this record. I slept on it twice. I listened to it once. I thought it was lovely and didn't listen to it. And then it wasn't until later in the year that I remembered it. And it's just pedal steel and bass synthesizer. It's an ambient record. He plays the pedal steel and this just sort of wail song, this harmonically rich swooping. It sounds kind of weird, but it wins on the virtue of it is satisfying. Chuck Johnson has made one of the most satisfying listening experiences of the year. I don't know. I listen to it and my body feels good. I feel complete. That is the listening experience of the year. I did not review on this podcast. Did I decide on a song of the year? I was going to decide on a song of the year, but the song of the year was going to be Sleep Well Beast, the title track by The National record. But then I kept changing my mind until I gave in and decided to make it record of the year. I wrote down Fear at some point, which is the 7-minute long song from the new Kendrick record, which was going to be the song of the year that I did not review on the podcast. I didn't really like the new Kendrick record, but Fear is a strong statement. I felt a lot of emotions listening to that song. It's very specific in a way that really gets me. Also, the beat is really great. The song just advances like a wave and it just destroys me. I like it. I like how it conveys the fear. Yeah. The word of the year is care, because we have to care about each other all of a sudden. I don't know. I read a newspaper article and it was like, I don't know how I should have to explain. It was like a liberal, and she was saying, I don't know how I should explain to these conservatives that I meet that they have to care about other people, which, great article. If I could find it, I might add a citation in the note of this podcast. But yeah, it was like, we have to care about people, and that's where we are as a society, I think that's where we're moving right now. Also, because I'm in college and people are sad all the time, you hear a lot about self-care, which is where you take care of yourself, which is also very important. Take care of yourselves out there. So yeah, that's my word, care. Care about people. Care about yourself. Care about someone this holiday season. Be good to each other. But that's the year in things. Those are the things that I wanted to make note of. And I'm glad that I did. And next week, we will have the last F major added second chord. It will have been a good run. Peace.